means that we're fighting with one hand tied behind our back. And that's not a way to win. That's not a way to reclaim the left. That's not a way to stand up against UKIP and to challenge the racism against migrant workers, to challenge austerity and to challenge Labour on the left and to fill this big space which needs to be filled, and we in this room have to do it from tonight. So give generously to help us for our campaign, and more importantly, join if you can. Join us. There's on your seats a leaflet which is dropped on the floor now. Here it is here, Doing Politics Differently. And that's why we're hoping that you will fill your details in this form, or to go online to and join online. It's not a very expensive commitment, but it's a necessary commitment. And finally, to give hope to the millions, we need to be ambitious, as Kate says. We need to think about in building a political alternative which will be as loyal to the working class against austerity as New Labour is loyal to the bosses and to the bankers. So let's start doing it tonight.
Now, I'm afraid we only have time for 3 more questions or points. There are a lot of people who want to say a lot of things, and I do apologise to everybody whom I've not been able to take. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take people just because they shout at me. I'm very sympathetic to somebody wanting to say something about women, but I'm absolutely not going to take somebody just because she's shouting, because plenty of other people have had their hands up. So can I see the hands? I'm going to pick 3 more. I do apologise to everybody who's not being called. It is one of those things. It happens at political meetings. I'm going to take the chap here. I'm very sorry. And I'm going here, yes. And then Hillary here, and there is a woman there.
There you go. Yes. Just a question about trade unions, really, particularly in the British context.
Speak into the mic.
Yeah, okay. Just a question about trade unions, and particularly in the British context, because the trade union movement in this country is the largest voluntary organization in this country, and they are beginning to organize, but and they have a lot of resources at their disposal, but nevertheless, at the grassroots level, I mean, certainly my experience is the branches are withering away, but still got loads and loads of members. I mean, you have branch meetings, and sometimes you get less than a dozen members turning up, but the branch itself might have hundreds of members. So I'd like to know whether the Left Unity as a party or organization has some kind of strategy towards the trade union movement, because I think they are like a sleeping giant that's held down by trade union officials.
Thanks. Well, I feel very, my head's buzzing with questions, so I'll just focus on one, which is really to push maybe all the speakers in different ways on this question of the relationship between party and movement. People kind of slide, sometimes people talk about party movement. I know I spoke once with a Podemos comrade, and he, in a way, denied Podemos was a party, talked about it much more as a movement. So, and it was really encouraging to hear Ken talk about the importance of Left Unity as being really rooted in those local campaigns. Well, I think that's where we need a new language, because when we talk about party, that immediately evokes exactly the corrupt political system that we're campaigning against. The Scottish movement was definitely a movement. And I think that there are 2 issues related to this. One is that the other country, Tariq was really right to focus on the sober situation in France. The other country is Italy, which is pretty sober. There isn't, to be honest, Kate, I just think you're a bit optimistic about these other parties. There isn't the left party in Italy collapsed, and one reason why it collapsed was because it forgot the issue of the political movement as distinct from the party. It became corrupted by the political system. And so I think the other principle, which I've learnt from Podemos, though it hasn't maybe been made explicit, is, and certainly Syriza has learnt this, is the importance of autonomy and importance of the development of the political movements. I mean, I remember going to Italy when the what's it called? Rifondazione Comunista was in government, and its political office was completely empty because all the resources of the organisation were in Parliament, not in the localities, not in the movement. Now, okay, you know, left unity isn't going to be, you know, facing that problem, but I mean, in a way, there can be a sort of a version of it that all the money that's raised tonight, hopefully, you know, that Fred's been appealing for, goes to the electoral campaign. Whereas, really, I think, you know, we've got to think. And I'm not anti-politics, but surely we've learned from the women's movement, as other movements, that politics isn't just about electoral and activity, and that we've got to think about building a political movement. And I think that finally leads to Marina's point, which I really we need to explore in more depth, is reclaiming or claiming populism, a left populism. And I read a really interesting remark by a guy from Podemos that we are populist. Podemos is populist, but it's a populism which doesn't appeal to prejudice and ignorance. You know, that lovely quote from Johnny Rotten about UKIP being a black hole through which people fall in their ignorance. You know, we don't appeal to prejudice. We appeal to people's intelligence. Now, that notion that we're a populism that is based on people's intelligence, and therefore, in a way, that's the other thing I'd put through another stick of rock, is that our movement must be based on developing the capacity. I mean, what's socialism and common ownership about? It's about workers' popular control, which means popular capacity. And in a way, the money, I'll give some money, but I'd like it to go to popular education, the development. That's not about education in the way the teachers sort of thing. It's the Paulo Freire idea of forms of education that bring out the capacity of the people and develop the confidence of the people. And I think that we must get that sort of relationship right and be thinking about a political movement. And I'm not so happy about the notion of a party in any traditional sense. I think newness means a political movement. I'd like to ask.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Good evening. Thanks very much to everyone. It's been amazing listening to you. I wanted to say a few things continuing what has been said already about language and the necessity of new language. So I've heard many of, some of you saying, Tarek saying that people are disgusted by traditional politics, or Marina saying that something new cannot carry the same name. Ken Loach saying that we need a new language. And that, and talking about the disenchantment of ordinary people. And I'm just, I don't know, as part of Podemos, one of the things that I really like, and it really made me engage with Podemos, is this distance with this language, this right and left, this binary system that doesn't mean anything anymore. I mean, you have a conservative party here that has voted for gay marriage, and you have a left party that has gone to Iraq without anyone's opinion. So I think left and right is something that we need to, it's part of the past, it's something that needs to be left behind. And I would like to ask to Left Unity, what is the choice? If your ethos is to do new politics, don't you believe that also you need new language in order to do new politics?
Question to end. It's a very good question to end with, isn't it? Right, I'm going to ask